Hey everybody, welcome to another Sunday morning conversation. Today my guest is Jordan Ryan of RuffRunnersATL. He has a dog running service and he has several contractors that work for him too. So today we find out a little bit more about that. He's not your ordinary dog walker. So thanks for tuning in, everybody.
Good morning.
Hey Jordan, how are you?
Good to meet you.
So I see you've got medals in the back. Do you road race too?
I used to, well, before all of my running was accounted for by dogs.
You've never run a race with a dog though?
I actually have, and I have a small little trophy here that one of my dogs won once because we came in first.
Now, was yours or one of the ones that you're a part of your service?
I'm sorry?
I said that was one of your own dogs?
No, that was one of the dogs that we normally run with. He's super fast, and I knew he would do well at the race, so I just moved his normal run to the day of the race. His dad was super happy with it, so that's what we ended up doing.
So with all these dogs that you run, how many of them do you have to run like every day or every other day? What's the kind of schedule?
So we typically are busiest Monday through Friday because that's when most people are working and need help with their dogs. I've got a good crew right now of about 5 other runners that I contract out to do these runs with me. We do between 5 to 10 dogs every day. And for me, myself personally, my schedule usually involves 2 to 3 runs. Typically, it's going to be one dog by itself, but we do have a lot of clients where we'll run 2 dogs together. We do that because sometimes it helps them to socialize. Sometimes it's better for our schedule. Sometimes it helps the other dogs boost their confidence when there's another dog there that's into it more. So that's kind of how our day goes, is we'll just have a couple of runs, bounce from house to house, running in these dogs' neighborhoods. And that's what a typical day looks like here. Okay,
so how did you find 5 people to join you?
Well, we've got actually a larger crew than that, but that's who's running with us right now. I've got an application on the website, and most of them have just found us on Instagram, or they've been searching for jobs, come across our our hiring page on our website, and they're usually ecstatic to find something like this. People who run for us tend to already have another gig going on. You can imagine there's only so much running you can do in one day, so it would be difficult to do this and make a living off of it. So a lot of these people have other jobs. They do this around the times they're already going to be running, and now they're just getting paid to do the things they would normally be doing a few times a week by themselves.
Now, like, every dog can't be the same. Like, what's the distance that they run? I know you can run a herding animal forever if they're training enough.
Yeah, it depends on the breed. So we offer a 30 and a 45-minute run. Typically for our 30-minute runs, dogs can get between 2 and 3 miles. They do take a lot of breaks to sniff. We encourage them to engage in the atmosphere. It's a lot of running, but also stopping and sniffing and using their nose and their brains is going to help exhaust them as well. So that's why some of them will get shorter end on the 2 miles. But we've got some dogs that in 30 minutes can get up to 4 miles. So they're like our elite dogs that can only be run by a few of us that are fast enough, in good enough shape to be doing those kinds of runs constantly. So it really depends on the dog.
Yeah, I just blanked. I have a brain injury, so sometimes I blank on what I was going to say next. But so how do they find you? How do these places find you? Just on Instagram or by word of mouth?
Some on Instagram, some on word of mouth, but usually it's people searching for dog exercise, dog walking on Google, and then finding us. I tried to do a good job with our SEO to make sure our website, even though we just do dog running, has enough info out there for people who are looking for dog walkers so that they can find us. And usually people reach out once they know that we're a thing. They are already sold. Our first run is a trial run to make sure it's a good fit for the family, for the dog, that we can handle the dog, etc. But usually people are just sold from the minute we get there. They just love the fact that their dog can now go and get this much exercise without them having to do it. A lot of people, they have less guilt during the day. They have a long day and they're worried about their dog at home, and now they know their dog's getting all the exercise they could get during that break.
Yeah, honestly, it sounds like a perfect opportunity for me because I no longer have a dog and I have energy.
Well, honestly, that's how I started this. I was in the middle of a 100-day running streak, and I thought there's got to be something better I can be doing with this. And I didn't have a dog at the time, so it was really easy to kind of change my schedule around. Flash forward to now, I have a dog who he has retired himself from running. I have run him too much, he's said. But it does get tough when you have your own dog and then you have to exercise everybody else's as well.
Is it all taxable income for your runners?
Yeah, so it's a contract position. They get paid per run, and then at the end of the year, they get 1040 with all of the income they've made for the year. And I have runners that run a couple times a week, and they make a couple $1,000s by the end of the year. So it definitely can be lucrative. Pays for all of the gear. You know how much running gear is. Our shoes cost $120 to $30 every couple months. All the gear that we like to wear. So doing this kind of running and getting paid for it means all of that's covered and then some.
Now, do you only work? You're in Atlanta, right? So you only work out the metro?
We do have some availability in some place outside of Metro Atlanta. It depends on the runners. I've got runners that do run in Sandy Springs and a little bit north up there. I have some that service out in Decatur. So it really depends on where I've got my runners located. And then once we've got enough interest in some other neighborhoods, that's how we've kind of expanded out. We've got we get people from all over the country. They don't even realize we're in Atlanta. Every week I get somebody from a different state asking for a run. So there's no shortage of dogs out there to run. But I do like to keep it close to home. You can imagine a lot of things could go wrong in an industry where people are taking care of people's pets. And so when I keep it small like this, I ensure that those are very limited. We haven't had any accidents that are caused by us. We've had other dogs that are loose come and attack us while we're running. But the gear that we choose, the runners that we partner with, everything is designed to keep these dogs safe, happy, and loving every step of the run.
Okay. Do you have to have some kind of insurance at all, like be bonded or something like that?
Yeah, so I do have general business insurance that is basically the basic kind of insurance that a pet walker would get, but that anybody who owns a business would get. There are different levels you can add depending on what your business does. Like as soon as you enter somebody's home without them there, there's a different type of insurance that you'll have to add on. But yeah, you have to have general liability insurance. But with the contract runners, the main difference is health insurance. My business insurance covers the dogs and anything that happens to the dogs, but it doesn't cover the runners. Runners are they need their own health insurance, and if they were to get injured, it would have to be covered by their own health insurance.
Ah, yeah, I got you. So now, when you run these dogs, do you go from like their front door, or do you have to drive them somewhere and then you run them?
Typically, it is all from their front door and in their neighborhood. We have had a few dogs that have had incidents in their neighborhood and they don't like staying local, so we do take them somewhere else. And those parents will just pay for a longer run, or we work something out so that it's worth our time. But primarily, dogs are fine with getting engagement in their own neighborhood. A lot of times, especially when they're new to us and haven't come out with us before, keeping them in an area where they're familiar helps keep them more comfortable with us. And while dogs do like to go in the woods and go hiking, they're just as fine sniffing the same things they sniff all the time. So it's not always worth it for us to take dogs elsewhere to run if we don't need to.
Do you only run one dog at a time, or are there some cases where you run two or something?
So typically we do one at a time. I mentioned that we'd like to do two in a couple scenarios. One is if we have a dog who doesn't take to us and we think can get a confidence boost from another dog that already likes it. We can only speak dogs so much, but the dogs, they work with each other really well. And so if there's another dog that is already into it, then we'll try to pair them together. Another reason would be with our schedules. So we can only run so many dogs a day. Excuse me. And there are sometimes we get new customers that they really need some help. And we have two dogs that I think the personalities fit. I think fitness-wise, they're going to be able to run together. And so we look at the schedule, and if we can do it, we have a good introduction process where we make sure they're going to get along before we actually let them connect. And then from there, it's just keeping them on that schedule every week.
Oh, wow. So are there any dogs that you have to run 5 days a week?
No, the most that we do is 3 days a week, and we typically go in like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Monday, Wednesday, Saturday, something like that. Just as with humans, we kind of need rest, and doing the same thing every single day, as I found out with my own body, wears and tears on you in ways that you might not expect. So there are times where we might run someone 3 days in a row because their parents are on a trip and they need us, but we're cognizant about the rest that they're going to need in between these kind of exercise. And you might be doing some running with your dog every day, but I wouldn't suggest going out every day of the week with your dog and doing a really hard run for 30 minutes every day.
Yeah, that's definitely true. I'm a triathlete, so I do 3 sports, so I can mix it up in there.
Yeah, and you know, dogs need anywhere between 30 to 90 minutes of exercise every day. So you should be getting outside with them, but letting them run in the backyard for a bit on their day off is going to be a lot more helpful on their joints. We try to keep them on grass and in places that aren't bad for their joints. But running on that pavement every single day will take a wear and tear if they're not getting a break. So it's good to have those days off where you just play in the backyard or go for a nice easy walk.
Do you have anybody who like rides alongside on a bicycle and lets the dog run?
We don't do that. I used to do it with my own dog until he finally caught on that the bike means a lot more exercise. So he stopped doing that with me. But personally, I like to keep it without the wheels because you're just having a lot of more things that could go wrong. If a dog is going to get scared at something and is going to dart away, you're much likely to get hurt if you're on a bike and they're pulling you off. You're also much more able to handle a dog and the leash quickly when distractions or dangers come up while you're running. If you're on person and if you're on foot and your hands aren't on the handlebars, so it just isn't worth the risk.
Or the leash like getting wrapped up in the spokes or something.
Yeah, that could definitely happen. With my own dog, I definitely learned it was kind of good that he was a little bit scared of the bike because he stayed away. They do make some good gear that you can attach to your bike that will keep the lead away from your bike and your wheel so that doesn't happen. But most people just go out with their dog, give it a try, and like you said, something like that could happen. They run across, you get caught, and everybody's hurt.
Do you run your dogs on mostly hard surfaces, or do you go soft surfaces too?
So as I mentioned, we're mostly going in their neighborhoods, which means we're really limited to the environment of where they live. For the most part, we try to always have the dog have access to grass. So even if we're running on a sidewalk, the health strip in between has enough grass where they're not on pavement the whole time. But you'll find a lot of dogs, they like a path, so they often just go back onto the sidewalk anyway. In most neighborhoods we run, we're aware of the parks that are there, the little green spaces. So when we can, we try to get them there and get them some time there. Especially in the summer when we're looking for shade. As you know, pavement gets super hot in the summer, and we really change the times that we run, but we still need to get out there with these dogs and exercise. So running in green spaces where we're more likely to have trees not only helps with the paws, but helps keep them cool in general.
And you'll run them rain or shine? Like it doesn't matter?
Yeah, so dogs have preference. There are some dogs that will not run in the rain. They won't go outside, and we're already aware of that, and we cancel. But basically, if it's just raining a bit and it's safe that the human would go out and run in it, then we don't mind taking the dog out. Lightning and thunder, we're obviously going to avoid, and then extreme heat and humidity are things we have to avoid. But we kind of leave it up to the runner if they know that they feel safe running in the current conditions and that it's not dangerous for the dog to be running, then we keep them going.
Are you kind of in charge of cleaning a dog up afterwards too?
Yes and no.
Like just wiping them down a little bit?
Yeah, so my doggy bag, I have 4 towels in it and a bunch of towels for myself because I want to do that. But our runners, maybe they don't have a plethora of towels sitting around, and contracted employees are supposed to provide all of their own materials. So I'm not going to ask them to go buy 12 new towels for this. So we let the parents know. We'll clean them up when we can, but if we're not able to, we ask them to have a doggy towel by the door on rainy days or whatnot. We're not going to send a muddy dog into a house and jump all over the furniture, but we may not be providing the towels, but we'll at least provide the care we need. We do some extra things, like we'll do feedings, or when we get back from a run, we'll let the dog out back to go to the restroom because they don't do it during a run. So there's definitely some extra care that we add to this on top of just the run that we do.
So what do you actually charge people for this?
So if you're calling me out of the blue, a 30-minute run is going to cost $36, and a 45-minute run will cost $48. But primarily, people are booking with us every single week, and I give a discount for that. So if you're booking every single week, one run, you get $2 off. The more runs you do, the more discount you get. And I do that because if you're scheduling your run the same times every week, it's less work that I have to do. I don't have to constantly worry about the runner's schedule. So I don't mind giving that discount because it's less work that I have to do. But you can imagine after taxes and buying the gear and all that work that we do, we need to be able to charge enough that we can do a couple runs in a day and make a good amount for it. So the price that we're at right now feels good. It's pretty in line with a lot of the other dog runners around the country. Some people have dog running operations where they do hour runs or they do hikes and a lot of different things. So some of the prices can be really up there. I like to keep it pretty standard, have the 30 to 45-minute options, and just give a discount for the weekly runs.
Now your contract. Wait. So with your contractors, what portion of that do they get? Like, I don't know.
So for a run, you can make anywhere between $20 and $40. If it's a standard 30-minute run, then you get $20, which if you think about it, for 30 minutes of work is not bad considering what minimum wage is. And it's work that you're already going to be doing. I pair people with dogs that are in their neighborhoods and the schedules where they already want to be running. So for the most part, it's pretty convenient for people to get to these runs. And I mentioned the pack runs that we have. If you have two runs, or two dogs from the same house, you do make a little more for the run. If you have two dogs from separate houses where you have to drive to one, go to the other, and then run them together, you make more money. And so when you have a 45-minute run with two dogs, you can make up to $40 doing that run.
Sweet. So do you plan on just staying in the Atlanta Metro, or do you think I'll take this to other towns or something?
For now, I'm going to stay here. The thing I keep thinking about is the bigger you get, the more problems you have. And right now, I like the problems I have to deal with. You might have heard of Rover and Wag, those big dog walking companies that have an app. Those apps have had deaths. And it is horrible that there have been families out there who have lost pets due to negligent dog walkers. And honestly, I worry about growing something like this where there are a lot more risks involved. People are going faster. They're doing exercise that puts their dog in an increased risk for exertion and exhaustion if they're not paying attention to the elements. So the bigger this gets, the more I see that happening. So keeping it like this, I think, is the best way to make sure that the pets get the attention they deserve, the families get the care they need, and then our runners also have the support that they need. There are ways I'd like to expand our business. We're going to add check-ins so that I can do some quick stop-ins for our pet parents on days where they're not running. That's a way I can make a little more money without having to use all the energy that I have. I've got some great ideas for a leash I'd love to develop in the future. No idea how to do that, but it's a way that I can expand my business without having to risk this business getting too big and having the business suffer because of that.
Okay. So I got one more question to get you out on here. Do you have to run with poop bags wherever you go?
Yeah, I do. So we use some special gear when we run. I've got a special leash called a harness lead, and I love it because it fits any size dog, big or small, comfortably, keeps them safe. And we have a waist belt that we attach that to. So that means our dog is never going to get away from us while we're running. And that's, the most important thing to me is that we're able to keep a dog with us. And the waist belt that we use, it has a little pouch for dog bags, treats if we need it, and whatnot. You can carry your cell phone in it. Yeah, the gear is like the most important thing that we have. And cleaning up after your dog is not only nice, but it's the law. So yeah, we're always prepared.
Okay. And all your contractors have to have that.
They do. I will say that I buy in bulk and just give them the doggy bags because that's the kind of guy I am. And really, I'd rather have our runners, when my contract runners are out there, they're representing Rough Runners. So yes, they're themselves, but they have to be the kind of people that are taking care of the dogs and the community that they're running in. So I make sure that not only do they have the poop bags, but they know that they need to put that poop in public receptacles. We have been berated over people just thinking we put poop in their garbage cans when we haven't. So we take everything, including poop, pretty seriously here.
Well, man, maybe I might have to apply one of these days since I'm on disability. So who knows?
If you're interested, I think it's a great gig if you already like running. What I try to do is have people have the same runs every week so that you can count on when your exercise is. And making $20 to $40 for a run is a lot better than making nothing. The difference is your run now is dedicated to that dog. So I'm going to fit you with a dog that's running at a pace I know you can handle, but sometimes it might be a slower pace than you want for that day that you wanted to run, or that dog might be a little faster than the energy you have for that day because you went out that night. So it isn't perfect because you're not always running exactly how you want to be or where you want to be, but I think it's a pretty good compromise considering what you make. And honestly, it's fun running with dogs. They're a really good running partner. They don't complain about the miles. they listen to anything you want to complain about yourself. So they're really good. And it's pretty nice to see a tired dog at the end of the day know that you're making a big difference for these families' lives. Mostly it's just about exercise, but we've got a lot of dogs that are here for like weight management. And we've helped a lot of dogs lose some weight, and it feels good to give that health back to that dog and that family. Having dogs become more confident and be able to do more with their parents because we've forced them into these situations that makes them uncomfortable and they realize they're fine in, has made a big difference. So it's definitely some intrinsic value as well.
Sweet. Hey, Jordan, thanks for giving me the time today. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks. I love talking about this. I hope it was helpful for you.
Yeah, we'll be in touch.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye.